The drink and its beautiful lie. It's after midnight now, and I want to finish these lines begun to your disembodied voice. But as sometimes happens, the muse seems to say, this far and no further. What is one to do? The ear listens for a lifetime, but it's the heart that hears what can't be said.
Oh!
Two short ones by Michael Hannon. He was never short when we argued. Slender means self-knowledge. Visitors depart. Owls are mute. The sea is paved with broken moons. Finally, it is quiet. I thought I wanted this. The bear. The poem about the bear, about the animals living in eternity, won't come. Like the bear himself, standing in an alder thicket, almost having a thought.
Give it up for Brett again. All right, well, the next person who's coming up here is a close personal friend of mine. But besides that, he's one of the, one of our great poets, as everybody in this room is. I mean, I'm looking around me and I'm amazed. I just am. So Dee's going to be the first one, and I have to bring you some bad news. The thing about being popular, evidently, is that we have so many, we want everybody to get in. Normally we get 5 minutes, we're asking people for 4. So it's fair to everybody. But you're still getting your 20 minutes. All right, guys. Welcome, Dee Allen.
Woo!
Yeah!
Honest to goodness poet.
Really? Yeah, and they're everywhere.
All right, 2 poems for y'all tonight. And I don't think I'm going to do as much justice as the feature who's going to be coming up much later on after the first half. So let's give it up for Mr. Alderondo in advance.
Yeah.
All right, the first poem comes out of my new book, Skeletal Black.
Yeah.
Poems from beneath the poverty line.
Okay.
From pages 10 to 11, this is called Basket. You could hear the rattling clamor from down the road, wheels skating across the pavement, iron-framed, large, transporting bound, bagged, hard-won cargo. Scrounged from gray curbside bins all over Oakland, hands pulling out only good, redeemable stuff. Green, brown, clear glass and plastic bottles, whole aluminum cans, flat cardboard, other trash bypass, waste management's problem. Recology to y'all. The homeless old man makes money the one way he knows how, since he answers to no boss. Fruits of his labor fill his shopping basket. He pushes, rolls past cars, trucks, businesses, and parked SUVs. Frequently stocked like shelves at the nearest Trader Joe's. Constantly on the move like dreadlocked disciples of John Africa. Headed miles away for any recycling center that will gladly convert his stash to crisp cash. Since the citizens' class's complaints and the force of city council shut down Alliance Metals in Dogtown. That's a neighborhood in West Oakland, y'all. His survival task with a shopping basket keeps such centers open and the old man alive for hella days to do more. Fair compensation for a worker of the great urban outdoors. Not an addict, not a nuisance, not a thief, a worker. That poem was called Basket, a day in the life of an elderly homeless recycler in West Oakland. From the book Skeletal Black, which I happen to have 2 copies on me for $10 in case y'all are interested.
Yeah.
And the last poem is a new one.
Yeah.
New shit?
You should.
Can I hear that?
New shit.
There we go.
No shit.
Says David E. with such vigor. This is a new poem and it goes a little something like this. Even though literary journals and others consider it to be a tough sell, let me tell you about somebody who doesn't, and he slings lyrical verse well. Priced out of Oakland and also San Francisco, the master poet the Bee calls his home Vallejo. He's short in stature, but in talent quite tall. His name will soon be known and sung by the Bay Area one and all. When he walks up to a live mic and begins to activate his ability to spin tales off the page before a crowd, he captivates. Always with rhythm, peppered heavily with rhyme, Puerto Rican salsa carries his words, never fails to impress every time. Tony Alderondo has a gift for crafting verse and a radio-ready voice that flows it. Do as his custom-made t-shirt implores us to. Support your local poets.
Right.
The name of that poem was called Alderondo, dedicated to tonight's feature, Senor Tony Alderondo. From this mic to your ears, I'm D. Al.
All right.
Yeah. Hal Robbins is up next. Hal. He's coming right now.
We'll introduce yourself now.
I didn't realize you had anything to say about me. But,
Oh yeah, I have a lot to say about you, but
well, you want to, or
don't run up to me.
I won't.
We're gonna keep doing that forever.
I'm amazed at this man's ability. That's all I can really say. He's a keeper of the old poets, keeping them alive so that we still can remember. And he also writes, and I wish he'd read some of his stuff sometimes more often. But he's great at what he does, and he's quite a man, I think you'll find, and let him tell you.
Well, thank you.
Hal.
Ulysses by Tennyson. It little profits that an idle king by this still heart among these barren crags I meet and dole unequal laws unto a savage race that hoard and sleep and feed and know not me. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that love me and alone, on shore, or when through scudding drifts the rainy Hyades vexed the dim sea. I am become a name for always roaming with a hungry heart. Much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments, myself not least, but honored of them all, and drunk delight of battle with my peers, far on the ringing plains of windy Troy. I am a part of all that I have met, yet all experience is an arch, wherethrough gleams that untraveled world, whose margins fade forever and forever when I move. How dull it is to pause, to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, as though to breathe were life. Life piled on life were all too little, and of one little to me remains, yet every hour is saved from that eternal silence, a bringer of new things, and vile it were for some 3 suns to hoard and store myself, and this gray spirit burning in desire to follow knowledge like a sinking star beyond the utmost bounds of human thought. This is my son, mine own Telemachus, to whom I leave the scepter and the isle, well loved of me, discerning to fulfill this labor, by slow prudence to make mild a rugged people, and through soft degrees subdue them to the useful and the good. Most blameless is he, decent, not to fail in offices for tenderness, and pay meet adoration to my household gods when I am gone. He works his work, I mine. There lies the port. The vessel puffs her sail. There gloom the dark, broad seas. My mariners, souls that have toiled and fought and wrought with me, that ever with a frolic welcome took the thunder and the sunshine, and opposed free hearts, free foreheads. You and I are old. Old age hath yet his honor and his toil. Death closes all. But something near the end, some work of noble note may yet be done, not unbecoming men who strove with God. The lights begin to twinkle from the rocks. The long day wanes, the slow moon climbs. The deep moans round with many voices. Come, my friends, 'tis not too late to seek a newer world. Push off, and sitting well in order, smite the sounding furrows, for my purpose holds to sail beyond the sunset and the bath of all the western stars until I die. It may be that the gulfs shall wash us down. It may be we shall touch the happy isles and see the great Achilles, whom we knew. Though much is taken, much abides. And though we are not now that strength which in old days moved heaven and earth, that which we are, one equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield.
Okay, Britt Peters and Owen Dunkel on deck. Okay.
Great. I signed you up just in case. All right, Mr.
This week's theme is recovery, business talk, hospital talk. Have you taken all your pills this week? Have you wagered at stock, seeking recovery from economic pain, from frail, untended health? Recovery. William Cobbett followed the Dr. Benjamin Rush, kept a list of his clients, and saw that the success rate was very small from using leeches to fight disease. Economic recovery. Joe Stiglitz said the American war in Iraq would cost billions. He wasn't wrong, he just made a conservative estimate. Recovery, business talk, hospital talk. Draw a deep breath and push on. Follow the numbers. El Paso or any town, it is the guns. Listen to these quiet gatherings, their sadness and resolve, an avenue filled with candlelight. Gather in the guns, the pea shooters, cork them, demystify them. In Michael Smuin's Romeo and Juliet, the prince stopped to fight between the Montagues and the Capulets. Their weapons tossed into bushel baskets in the marketplace, a public observance of peace, a message to the opera house crowd. But these mass shootings are happening everywhere. Break the fetish, dissolve the violence fantasies, refuse to contribute to ongoing oblivious warfare, the incessant gun running, our penchant toward killing each other, the fratricide, the suicide, the big rapacious guns in each town. Beaumont, Texas. Blind Willie and his wife were singing by the courthouse. It was raining. It was raining, her soft voice with his sandpaper voice. It had been a hard day for them. It had been a hard day for them. Wet sidewalks and puddles in the street, a few to listen, and rain all day. He stroked that big guitar with zeal, the drive, the hum of strings. Blind Willie at the courthouse sang on a rainy day to a small crowd. If I had my way, if I had my way, I'd tear this building down. Soft, then loud, direct and wise. If I had my way, I'd tear this building down.
Oh!
It's a little short, but kind of seeping out at the end of the last poem. Literary discernment. Have you ever thought why Blind Willie Johnson singing, dark was the night, cold was the ground, works? And it was a dark and stormy night, doesn't? It's a terrible cliche laughed out of town. It's because Blind Willie strummed his guitar with a bottleneck and growled, digging deep for a river of underground melody.
Owen Dunkel! Jeremy Vasquez.
And Jeremy Vasquez is on deck. And remember, we're trying to keep it short to 4 minutes because
Thank you,
we
sir.
got popular.
Ish.
And Louis Romero has just entered the building.
Leave the mic where it is. Please.
Careful behind you, Owen.
He's good, he's good.
All right, yeah. He almost stepped on.
I also have some chapbooks on sale.
Listen up.
Some chapbooks on sale for $5. Oh yeah. Buford, said he likes this one here. James Liddy, a memoir. James Liddy was a creative writing instructor I took 2 classes from at San Francisco State way back in '68. He was a native of Ireland, County Roscommon, a poet and a barrister. He held classes in a small cottage on Waller Street in The Hague. He liked my work and we became friends. He was honest in his criticism of my poetry. No, Wally, they're on an ego trip, he would say of some rivals. Stan Rice, the late Stan Rice, was one of his rivals. I was a pale goblet stem of a boy. Pale goblet stem of a boy indeed. Decadent rubbish, Wally. He was honest with me concerning my poetry. That was bad, Wally, he said of one of my poems that tried to be mystical in an Eliot-esque way, but ended up being vague and semi-nonsensical. Pensée. Mark made his mark as he dances in front of me. Grant Street grimaces as the night grows older. W.B. Yeats. Think where man's glory most begins and ends, and say my glory was, I had such friends. Dress greens. You look sharp in your uniform, son. My dad said that to me, and I thought it the second most wonderful thing a man with a voice ever said. Yeah. Poema. Moments of metaphorical magic touch the air of an indifferent evening. Subtleties surround me for moments of time being. The page stays the same, does not turn. The page turns like a key. I am surprised when surprises come, some out of nowhere. For Clary Who. The windy, sunny day at my doorstep. I say nothing to nobody. Gaily, this repeats itself daily. Clary Who for the Trieste. A funny slant of light sheds itself, slight beams from the sun. I don't know which way to run. 3. A Clary Who is good form. A Clary Who is good form. I admit to being a bit uniform. I conform to its structures. It can even paint a picture. 4. A Clary Who unlocks the mind. A Clary Who unlocks the mind. It does not put me in a bind. I don't take form for granted. Beams of sunlight are canted.
Oh.
Cynical city lights. Patrons have their hands on a metaphor. Dead at the computer. Hawpally suffered from acute writer's block. Roistering New York was not like the peaceful primeval South. For the 8th grade. Kathy Sullivan laughed at my jokes. I did the bop with her all night long.
Gotta be really short.
Very short.
Warren.
All right,
Short.
just a page here. I must lay
Very
down
short, very short.
We're
In fact,
all-
it's already time.
where all letters start.
It's already 7:25. You got your 4 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Jeremy! Forced to fly on deck. Forced to fly on deck.
Jeremy Vasquez, give it up.
Careful.
In the event of my untimely demise, do not demonstrate at the local news station that decides to use my mugshot from a decade ago instead of the thousands of Facebook profile photos ever since. Do not go through my friend's subscription on Netflix and look at the movies I have previously seen and judge me. And finally, do not release doves into the sky, release poets from the chair. Turn my eulogy into an open mic. Let metaphors and similes decorate the sky like fireworks. At my funeral, I want the magic of spoken word to light up the darkness of hearts like fireflies. Allow goosebumps to form under the skin of attendees that curate a rise in frequency. From truth, birth, and discomfort that no longer have to be buried away in anonymity. I want strangers to find shelter in the arms of strangers. I want seeds of exchange to bloom into a giving tree. I want it to feel like a fireplace. I never had one of those growing up. I want every youth I ever made a difference in the life of to have a dance off, kind of like Michael Jackson's Beat It video. I want someone to beatbox. And my closest friends to display the magic that happens when men are in a room and can create lyrics for women that don't degrade them or use them as a springboard.
Yeah.
I want it to feel like spring equinox. Everybody at the closest equilibrium. I want people without homes, which is most people I know out here in San Francisco, to be able to walk in and find comfort in my comfort in. To know there's no shame in being human. There's no crime in needing help. And the greatest thing you could ever do in remembrance of me is give something to somebody who can't pay you back. I want it to feel like Keenan and Kel when they welcome the guests in the Good Burger. Can I take your order? No dress code or code of conduct. May good vibes be the only entrance fee. And while I'm talking about entrance fee, I want to hear the trumpets. And it might not be time for victory, but I want mariachi bands to blare so fucking loud in the mission that conservatives think Mexico just took back Cali. I want some damn good Mexican food. Served from some taco trucks so authentic that Donald Trump will want to build a wall the day of. I want to hear the national anthem. And for everybody straight up, get on one fucking knee. And look around the room and see what it's like when nobody has a leg up on one another. Tab Colin on Instagram, we still Kaepernicking. I then want to hear the Black National Anthem. And everything in my soul, I want to lift every voice and sing till earth and freedom bring. I want my daughter to see the marriage of my culture, the power of being Afro-Latino, not just the pain. I then want someone to walk in so convicted to love, gay or straight. I don't really give a fuck, but I want my daughter to see love up close. It has avoided her like the plague. It has avoided her like most Christians that Black Lives Matter protests. Donate 3,000% inflation on my books and my audio to children of incarcerated parents. Children with speech impediments. Long after my footprints have faded, I want somebody walking in my shoes to be able to write a poem with a smile on their face. Because I have never done that. Because understanding is a gift I've been able to give everybody except myself. In the event of my untimely demise, do not mourn me and do not shed a tear. Instead, every Dia de los Muertos, light me a purple candle, leave me your favorite poem, and I will return facing the rising sun. Just do me a favor, San Francisco. Keep marching onward and upward until victory for my people and freedom for everybody is finally won.
All right, Jeremy. Force to fly. Let's go. Okay. You do your thing. You do you.
You know what, you're right. I'm gonna do it.
All right.
All right.
I'll follow you.
All right, first time here. My name is Force to Fly.
Woo!
Thank you for that warm introduction. Thank you. From San Francisco, born and raised. Just to give you a little context. Spoken word is my joy. The crowd, my therapy. As the air leaves my body, it saves me. I'm here to make bigots uncomfortable. No tippy-toeing, no holding back, no, oh, did I offend you? Truth is on the menu, and today's lesson requires you to take a big bite. So chew and swallow, because I'm not taking it back. No refunds or exchanges, because this is all final purchases. Yes, I can reframe. No, you cannot silence me. Yes, I do take up space, unapologetically. Throw on your seat belts, it will be a bumpy ride. No sorries are involved with immigrant children in our lives. Mothers are grieving for their sons, for their daughters, for their husbands, for their friends who have been taken, placed into detention camps. Right now, children are locked in cages. To make matters worse, brown turn against brown as fake lines and walls of hate dictate where our home starts and theirs ends. That mentality of scarcity, it keeps us all oppressed. I wish someone would have taught them that there's more than enough. Your real enemy isn't a religion, a race, or a creed. It's your greed. It's that fear of going without. So I encourage you, talk to a wealthy man. Ask what he fears most, because I guarantee it's not going broke. It's his legacy not living on. The only difference between ancestors and gods is reverence and praise. When you only feed your pockets, nobody remembers your name. The truth is, if you never took the time to help others, nobody places your photo at the altar. Forget, forgot, forgotten, poof, lost, cease to exist. That one is called Legacy Forgotten, and it was written for the, thank you. I haven't one that's a minute and a half. I am a woman. Hear me roar! Perfection where I stand. No more stutter, no more fear, no more sweaty palms. I clearly speak two tongues, no accent, no flaws. English better than yours. I had to work twice as hard to be twice as smart. No wide open doors. No trust fund to fall back on. Mama lacks legal status, I can't ask for support. Translator, since 2 feet tall, helping my raza navigate. And racists, they angry that I can advocate. So here I go telling cops, yelling doesn't translate. It's hard to feel safe when white supremacists the ones making the laws. Tell me I'm wrong. You're so busy building walls, they forgot this anchor baby as a key to the front door. And you can't see me coming because I never left. A humble day laborer and a cook, they bore a daughter and 3 sons. Fighters who stand tall, refuse to go quiet, refuse to live in the shadows. Be scared, cause we have power. I am a woman. Hear me roar.
Oh!
Yeah!
Edward. See if that works for you.
Probably needs to go down a little.
Okay.
I'm a shorty.
And Robert Rubino is back.
Robert Rubino. Robert Rubino is on deck.
Robert's on deck. Listen up.
Oh, boot camp.
It's called respect.
Amanda was a fish seller from Kirtaminda. She loved a sailor. He loved her. They were happy together. But she went to Copenhagen. There she met students, medical students, and she fell into troubles, so she could never go back to Kirtaminda. The Great Smokies. Jazz, jism, cool rhythm, band and sticks, so slows and quick quicks. I and it's ready, Eddie. You a quick jerk fool in a melancholy pool. Balloons, draped body parts, soft crowns, hard glories. And the red, refusing the insults, itching for luck that is the grease. As the slack drips up, bottom veils, top ales, fearful perhaps, but aimed like fog. Oh dreamer, dive into me. The night the phoenix flamed. All that noisy night the phoenix flamed, crackling embers into singeing song, scorching fog, fuchsia, western laurel tree. Raising memories of my flower years, smoke clouding what passes, these keys of flesh. Time, the phoenix, entered the sun dance, fragmenting, shattering, grinding down my tired half dreams of a failed dream, scooping from that mist of muffled bones, one frail and fragrant puff of finished fuse. Fleeing, finding stars, sky, sirens screaming, years turn, hope spins again into morning. So what could never end might yet still come again.
Robert Ramino.
And who's on deck?
And on deck is Martin Joseph.
Martin Joseph on deck.
That works for you. And let me frame you, sir. All right, you're ready to
All
go.
have to be framed.
False gods, a personal sampler. Mommy, Daddy, howdy doody. Mickey Mouse Club.
I'm sorry.
Mickey Mantle. Batman, Spider-Man, Alfred E. Newman, Marlboro Man. Johnny Walker, Bob Marley, Carlos Castaneda. Freud, Young, Eric Hoffer, Hugh Hefner. Broadway Joe, Mo, Larry Flint, and Curly. The Man of Steel, I.F. Stone, Schwarzenegger, and Pumping Iron. Uncle Sam, Papa Hemingway, Mother Teresa, the Brothers and Sisters of the Sacred Heart.
Emma Goldman, Amy Goodman, Jane Goodall, Jane Fonda, and Barbarella. Arthur Miller, Henry Miller, Norman Mailer, Peter Fonda, and Easy Rider. The Armstrongs, Louis, Lance, and Neil. Gibran, Gandhi, and Muhammad. Ali, that is, aka Cassius Clay. Jimmy, Janice, Dylan, Mr. Spock, Dr. Spock. Jack Johnson, Jack London, Jackie Robinson, Paul Robeson. George McGovern, George Romero, George Carlin, Gorgeous George. Brando is Stanley, Kubrick's 2001, Orwell's 1984, Bradbury's 450, Fahrenheit 451, Rome's John the 23rd, Ian Fleming's 007, Barry Bond's 756, Abraham Martin and John Lennon's Imagine, RFK, Oliver Stone's JFK, and KJAZ, Al Gore, Gore Vidal, John Muir, Michael Moore, Charles Bukowski, Charles Atlas, Pauline Kael, Citizen Kane, Herb Kane, Steve Allen, Allen Ginsberg, Woody Guthrie, Woody Allen, Woodward and Bernstein, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, Bergman's Cries and Whispers, Bop's Bird, Big Bird, Larry Bird, Tooth Fairy, Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, The Father, The Godfather, The Son, and Sam Kinison.
A short one.
Short. Time Capsule, 1954. Jonas Salk's polio vaccine inoculating. Jolton Joe and Marilyn marrying. Jolton Joe and Marilyn divorcing. Supreme Court rules against school segregating. Brando on the waterfront could have been contending. Iconic World Series catch by Mays amazing. Nobel Prize for Literature, Papa prevailing. Fellowship of the Ring, Tolkien publishing. Matisse at 85 dying. Deep-voiced Kings, Deep South ministry beginning. Britain's Bannister 4-minute mile breaking. Joe McCarthy sees red baiting. From Vietnam, defeated French, deflated leaving. And meanwhile, Haley and the Comets around the clock rocking.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff.
Martin Joseph.
Oh, and then Vincent's on deck.
And then you. And then a little break. Let me frame you.
We're doing good. We're doing good.
I know. Say 2 hours. Yeah. Yeah. He's here.
Good evening, Sacred Grounds. I didn't know tonight's theme was recovery, but I think this one fits in with it. It's called Digging Up FDR. The guard wondered what I was doing up there at Hyde Park, operating a backhoe, digging up the grave of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Time's up, I said. We have the technology. Stem cell research is here. Cloning technology is here. And there must be some DNA down there if I can just get to it. Come back, Franklin. We need you. The jobs have once again been stolen by the inevitable consequences of unrepentant, unrestricted greed, shipped away to foreign lands, leaving behind ghost town economics and opioid distribution networks. We don't have anyone like you, and we are not we the people anymore.
Right.
I know that it will take time. I don't expect you to be ready for a run this year or next. The new you must learn to crawl, and then to walk, and then to speak, and then to qualify. I know it will take some time. I know that you will be up against forces that even Jedi Masters have not encountered. They're the same forces that you faced in the 30s, only these ones have had 70 years to get more sophisticated. Where you were needed most then is where you are needed most now. Although, I'm sad to say, they will not remember you. They will not remember how you saved the state of Missouri when the suicide rate was approaching 10%. They will not remember all of those WPA programs, all of those civilian construction corps programs that put people back to work, that gave them something to eat and a place to sleep while they were rebuilding the infrastructure of America, the roads, the dams, the electric lighting, and those marvelous golden bridges. If it were you, maybe people would remember. If it were you, maybe some of them would spontaneously grow backbones, would spontaneously put in the work to figure out a different path than the one sold to them by the keepers of the Matrix. I'm hoping that it will not require the war that ends all wars. I'm hoping that it will not require the depression that ends all depressions. I'm hoping that the society that put a man on the moon, that invented the microprocessor, and that could clone you back into existence can put one over on the Dark Lords while their backs are turned, while they're off on holiday on their yachts, while they think they have absolutely everyone bamboozled. That's the time for me to be digging with this backhoe, because I am and will forever be an optimist.
Whoa.
And who may I ask are you?
Vincent Calvary's Hello Hello. So with the theme tonight, because we only got 4 minutes, recovery, found a journal recently. This is called Recovered Memory, and I'm just going to read one of them. This is from November 24th, 1971. Nonina visited at Thanksgiving, bringing the hidden family disgrace, the reasons why her son and his newlywed moved west. Their middle child, the best little boy, she slept in his room, he on the television room couch, watching his most favorite show past bedtime, room 222. Nona joined him in front of the Zenith Allegro, she sipping dry sherry. The cul-de-sac SATA symbol channel changer sat between them. The cool inner city TV characters filled the screen, their big wide smiles, perfectly creased iron clothes, and enormous sheen black afros launched her from her lazy boy, her 1930s East Coast indifference, born from the white scare. The channel quickly advanced to another network with opaque characters. At first, a confused, colorblind 7-year-old stood his ground as the possession of the clicker changed hands, their reddening faces in the darkened room, illuminated only by the boob tube, until she says no grandson of hers is gonna watch a television show with those people, unleashing that word. It rang through his soul, silencing the moment in time and their kinship forever. So this is called, I wrote a poem a couple weeks ago called Ambivalent No More. It was kind of negative, so I thought I'd write a positive answer to that poem. This one's called A Blue Marble Fairy Tale. Awoken at dawn by the chanting of the Buddhist monks who live freely along western Twin Peaks, they lovingly share open spaces with Christians, Jews, and Muslims, and follow doctrines penned by Two-Spirit Native Americans. And as I stretch my arms, I can hear the thousands of bells ringing atop the handlebars of bicyclists heading downtown, saying good morning to everyone, respecting each other, and giving the right of way to all pedestrians, wheelchairs, baby carriages, and unicycles. I lift my legs from my bedding, woven from donated stuffing from decades hugged out teddy bears. It sits upon a platform formed from 100-year-old recycled aluminum, passed down from the Hilton and Hyatt families, who now house only women, gay, lesbian, trans, elderly, and children who are victims, survivors of any calamity, anywhere, so they can experience sitting on a gold-plated commode, getting to flush the shit they endured for centuries. I place my feet on the floor, which heats and cools with reusable rainwater, captured year-round, powered by a generator engineered by the sun, made of 50-year-old metals refurbished again and again, and again at Iphenum, built by students who are educated by respected and exalted elder citizens who live in no-cost housing built near a college void of any expenses, with supplied books, meals, and mentorship around the clock. I put my handmade bamboo pants on, needing to be washed every 6 to 8 months, but who's counting? Next on is my Neil Young silkscreen cotton t-shirt passed down for 4 generations, and shoes made of plant materials grown by caring families, all bartered and swapped for at a weekly meeting of local communities adjacent to the largest group of communal gardens anywhere on earth, renamed and known only as Everybody's Rockin' in the Free World. I walk down the repurposed hallway made of 100% recycled non-caustic asphalt, formed from ancient freeways which have been replaced by a wind-powered free high-speed rail system connecting all humans, animals, fish, reptiles, amphibians, and insects on every continent, where borders have been replaced by welcome signs and passports swapped for library cards. Twice weekly for the last 25 years, I visit my mandatory sitting at the local forgiveness center, where true reparations began. All those marginalized, underrepresented, stereotyped, at-risk, and or affected by the criminal justice system, aptly renamed Where the Crow No Longer Flies, now facilitate gatherings for anyone who took or benefited with dark money from oil, coal, petrochemical, plastic, student loan, or anything owned or run by the Koch brothers. Receive 1 Bitcoin for every prayer or minute of meditation on peace, which is then deposited in a digital reservoir for those bloodline families and children of children of children of children and children of children and children until they're made whole. The earth is now governed, or should I say managed, by groups of people from every age, race, ethnic identity, gender or no gender, transgender, pansexual, asexual, or people who just say human. All transcripts, meetings, testimonials, and conferences are polylingual. By a landslide, we elected our first multilingual, trans, non-binary, lesbian person of a color who is on the spectrum. We hear they passed a unanimous piece of legislation from all 16 houses of government on all existing continents, and the new Underwater Legion included, which states forever, love is the universe's call for everyone who exists, and embracing the teachings of Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Maya Angelou, and Buddha will be taught beginning at conception. I'm going to fast forward. He's giving me the thing. I've been wanting to read this for a while. At night we can see the Earth's moon, now inhabited by all those who refuse to take the Earth's loyalty oath, which says to never harm or take away from the Earth's ability to breathe or for anyone to disrupt the living harmony which exists amongst each other and nature. We hear that the Trumps, McConnells, Grahams, Meadows, and all the living relatives of Jesse Helms are getting along well, but have huge differences on who's more opaque, why isn't white a color, who said it best, and who had the most paper money, which was outlined in 2030. They live in homes repurposed from border walls built between 2017 and 2020, with its perimeters maintained by a humanitarian drone space force funded by Mexico, Syria, Ukraine, Sudan, Palestine, Yemen, Iraq, and Afghanistan. And as I sit watching the sunset with my 130-year-old grandmother, cancer, Alzheimer's, and all man-made diseases have been eradicated, and we see the sun setting over the Pacific, whose ocean temperature has returned to normal and has been plastic-free for decades. The sky is free of red, orange, and purple, with a 1,000-year moratorium on all fossil fuels in place, and fine particulates have been reduced to 0.000000000. But I guess we'll just have to get used to a sunset of just blues and pinks in this magnificent fairy tale poem. Thank you. We got the Chris Ryder up here. Over there. Okay, so we're gonna have you do that. Why don't we let him? You got that there. Careful of his. All right.
All right, well, while they're setting up, I want to let you know that we're really, really, really lucky to have Louis Romero in the house.
Yeah!
If you don't know anything about Louis Romero, you really should check more out. He's from the 70s, and when salsa was king, although Abacha says salsa is gravy. He played with the greats Willie Colon, Tito Puente, Celia Cruz, Hector Lavoe, who wrote a song about him, I might add. And he has an encyclopedia of people he's known. And we were lucky that he moved here in the 80s and that we have him here with us. So please give it up for Louis Romero. All right, I'm going to start my time, I guess. All right, the first one's going to be high crimes and misdemeanors. It's about the caca that's going on with the FD and all that.
Okay, kind of moderate time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your high crimes misdemeanors. Raise clarion call, hear trumpet as trumpets wrath. Strut sells from Wall Street to street. Truth has no place here. Clarion caller, make place the message. Teenagers for sale, for sale. To wealthy pricks of USA who claim to rule us as they copulate youth. They're shining examples of good Christian behavior. Kill dealer purveyor. Give them a choice. They do it, or those who will. Raise clarion callers, street criers from the dead. Alert, alert, telling truth is a revolutionary act, whether about others or ourselves, but deceptiveness another matter. As some say, they didn't have sex with that. Yet, they're morality makers who defile. Most politicians aren't John Lewis. Yet, they're morality makers who defile. Most politicians aren't John Lewis, Barbara Lee, Tammy Duckworth, or the 4 most dangerous women in USA. Hallelujah! They are drive demos Republicans mental. Enjoy watching the Pelosi unhinged. They have no idea about what it is to sanctify, not as in religion, but as in humanity. Some play music, no heart, just technical. Intelligent with no heart, boring, dangerous. It matters not what party, they're mafia disguised as friends. Like church political saviors who savor their own greed, selves eating others. Beware poets, jesters, fools, criers, callers are multiplying, may not be able to shut them all up. If they kill truth, tellers overwhelm them through nonviolence. As in India, we need to find our salt to unify against empire that encourages its citizens to eat each other's throats. The rally cry, no more USA, no more of your murdering, thieving, dividing ways. As with Rome, your days are numbered, not for the reason sky gods, people say, but through your high crimes and misdemeanors against us. And I'll finish it off with blues hits. Last week I did a piece about blues as I saw this film, I'll tell you in this piece. Blues is raised on blues, R&B, rock and roll, sent to Vietnam fighting the American War. Went off coast hearing Chinese traditional music on radio. Talked to friends, weren't impressed, it's not rock and roll. Years later, meeting a Chinese musician who plays gagoon, recall story to him by adding, when hearing traditional musical instruments of Chinatown subways, one hears the blues. He smiles, nods, agrees. Feelings of Delta South, where mixes of humans give richness to blues, begets jazz, child of us, jazz, giving true untold stories of the blues. People who added to the broth, rises in stream. That's where our dreams are. Link Ray Rumble. Remember that? Now that's rock and roll. Stroll with smoldering fury brought to USA something that was here all along. Sound of Indian music comes out in rumble. How appropriate, great is that? Raise your hands, move, stroll, sway, cheer, stomp. This music scared USA so much. Cities banded, frightful, menacing. Yes, this is Indian warrior music. Or maybe it's just the greatest troll music ever. Mildred Bailey, first big band singer, influencing probably every jazz singer since Lady Day, Ella, the Bennett Sinatra, to those today. Ranked I, beautiful singer singing, learned, growing up on a Coeur d'Alene nation, becomes the greatest jazz singer. Come on, give it up for Mildred Bailey. Come on, she's still in the house. Then there's Charlie Patton, grandfather of Delta Blues. Howlin' Wolf said, Charlie Patton, baddest motherfucking Indian in the world. Choctaw, lest we forget Latin influence with all its mixes, mixing the blues, R&B. Remember, twist and shout, Dizzy Gillespie influenced jazz, Latin jazz. Music, greats from Cuba, Puerto Rico, giving way to Cuban, Puerto Rican jazz, washing on shores of USA, where in Cuba, Puerto Rico, then as today, every human's listened to the mothers and children's, making blues from the four directions, who all have the blues. Rise, beat your rhythm stick, stand for all those before us, gave us separately, then together, our beauty. It's what humans have to give. Music, a ranger of human emotions. Blues is. I'm sorry, I probably took over my time. I apologize.
Okay, before we introduce the feature, we have to do a little setup. So unusually so, we're going to take a 1.5-minute break and let them set up. Christopher Wright will be back to introduce the feature. Okay, so stand by, 1.5 minutes.
Woo! Yeah, you said the first one, right?
This is going to go down. Tony?
I'll start with a roll.
So Tony, you're going to use our mic and you're going to use your stand, right? Yep. And you got your music behind you. And then I'm going to move this over. And then by me. Yeah, because you're scared.
Any of those type of beats. About what time is laundry?
I have no idea. Where are you?
Richard, Vince, matting of books and tape, matting my own.
Sweet. I'm getting. Okay, so where are you?
No.
So we are right here. So we have the break. We take a break here. We have the last word. We have this. We have the mini. We have all these people. So it's up to you. So I'm sorry. Yeah.
Thank you, Richard.
Anytime I can set you up, and any of my friends I do.
Yeah, man, right on, bro. Right.
Jasmine,
Yeah.
you're in the second half towards the very end.
You guys remember each other?
Kind of, yeah. I think we had a beer.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Come from
You go
I
by.
haven't seen Tony in years.
Yeah, I was in the Navy, bro.
Hi, love when you get on. Okay. Mr. Black, Mr. Romero, and Tony, you let me know when you're ready. And then Sandra is going to come and introduce you first. Okay. Okay. Do you actually pronounce your last name?
Alda and then Rondo. Alda Rondo. Yeah, Alda Rondo.
And look what he done.
Oh, good.
Oh wait, did he sign it?
And after. Where'd D. Allen go? Okay, sign it before he leaves everything.
Sure.
Just mine signed. I think everybody should be here.
Okay.
Yeah. You're right. Well, you always are. Boom, break, 1, 2.
All right, 30-second bell. 30-second bell. Maybe. Settle in.
All right, people, let's have our seats. I told you 1.5 minutes.
Well, I know.
Second one I come in?
Well, they gotta get food.
I know, but they can wait till the break. I'm gonna dance at your next wedding, D. Allen.
Eddie's next wedding.
Garrett, I already signed you up. You're number 24. Do you want something?
He was just wanting to see what they were.
He's messy.
All right, guys, just because of time, I can't tell you how happy I am, as, you know, we people always say that. Ow! Ow! But I do mean it. I'm lucky to know Tony Alderondo for probably the last year, and every time I see him, he just my hair off my head. And Reggie Black, who's on the bass tonight, or lead guitar, he's new, and I'm going to let him say the kind words. And Louis, of course, I've already introduced to you, so we're really, really fortunate to have the group we have, and I'm just going to help out of here and let them do it.
I like your jacket.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, just for tonight.
And the jacket says hi.
What's my name?
Tony Alderondo.
Just in case.
I'll make sure nobody touches your shirt.
That is the one with the UW leading off.
No,
and
right
everything. So are they out on this one?
That's the last one.
I've
Yeah.
been watching you for months. I got it. Okay, let me. You
Test,
know,
test. Here we go.
Tony.
Yes, sir.
You know what? Let me move to
Okay.
this chair right here and get you all.
All right.
Because, you know.
You going to be able to hold that for 20 minutes? You're a strong man.
So when the beat comes in, you can just come in. I'll tell you when.
Okay.
So the other day, I'm on the corner of 5th and Market in between Powell Street, sitting on a fire hydrant, minding my own business, meditating pensively in deep thought, inhaling that secondhand San Francisco downtown cannabis, as words describing my life dance through my mind in a ballet of chaos. And out of the blue, this guy walks into my life. Yo, 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 my man, amigo, amigo, amigo. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. What you need, what you need, what you need. What you want, what you want, what you want. I want what I cannot have, nor cannot see. I want the world and eternity. I want to run wild and be free. Don't want no one bothering me. I want a ticket on a JetBlue plane. Want to break up without feeling pain. And want every man, woman, and child suffering from a mental health illness to please stop being called insane. Hey! I want to know how homelessness could exist in a rich-ass city like this, where most people live every day like it's a second Christmas. I want back my old neighborhood. I want back my youth. I want to be angry. That's the truth. I want some justice. I want no lies. I want no funerals. I want no cries. I want all men to experience the blind. I said I want all men to experience the blind. I want them to see that beauty's in the mind. I want them to see that beauty's in the mind. I want back the memory the police beat out of me. Saturday, August 14th of 1993. Whoa. I want those memories. I want back that knowledge. I want to know why I still can't afford college. I want to know who, what, where, why, and when. When the good life begins and the hood life ends. I want to know. Thank you. Yeah! Let's go! Let's go! Yeah! Who am I? Who are you? Do I know me? Do you know you? Do any of us even want to know? Or are we just afraid of the truth? Some say the truth can really hurt. Others say the truth will set you free. Whatever that means. Who am I? Am I the weak father who walked out on his wife, gave up on life, looked his little girl in the eye and said, goodbye? Who am I? Am I the bastard delinquent child my mama couldn't handle? The good boy gone bad, the bad man gone mad, a strung out dope fiend in a rush to reach the pearly gate? Am I Catholic? Baptist, gay or am I straight? Who am I? Well, I find out too late. Am I high? Am I low? Or just some guy you call bro? Yeah. Yo! I have a name too, you know. Who am I? Where am I to go? And is it true? Am I the illegitimate son of a Puerto Rican? No, I don't think so. Who am I? Am I a part of the new status quo or the new revelation? And what shall be my occupation? Who am I? Can anyone save me? I reach out my hands for help. Will you just enslave me? Who am I?
Yeah! Come on! Come on, poet! Come on!
I saw her at an open mic posting in San Francisco. I sat all alone in the very last row of that sweet little bookstore on 24th Street in the Mission. And when she began to read poetry into that microphone, from the furthest region in the back of that room, I felt her warm embrace. Come on. My heart was pounding, my palms were sweating, and I was too scared to look up at her face. But then it happened. I looked up at her face, and when I did, it happened. She poisoned me. I was poisoned by her poetry the moment I heard her read. The stars aligned as she read prose. My heart sped up and then it froze. I was poisoned by her poetry the moment I heard her read. Her words, they made my heart expand through her heat and made it melt. The more I fed on the words she read, the more of her I felt. I was poisoned by her poetry the moment I heard her read. Her words, they made my third eye blind and all my teardrops bleed. I was poisoned by her poetry the moment I heard her read. Her poisoned words seemed to be directed at me in bloody graffiti, as if written with the tip of the Grim Reaper's own sickle etched deep inside the abstract prison walls of my mind, and were so unkind. She poisoned me with her poetry the moment I heard her read. Thank you.
Oh yeah!
We are poets. We are poets. We are poets. We're at set your hearts and masturbate your mind. We are poets. We can take pretty words, put them in a poem, and plant a mental seed. Or we can take shitty words, when we're filled with rage, put them on a page and make it bleed. We are poets. We can put words together describing an aroma and make you think that page was scented. We are poets. The reason the exclamation point was invented. We write, recite, form. We never conform. It's the way we poets know that we were born. Pushed out, performing and crying since birth. Our hearts already broken and torn. But we as poets, we can take pieces of broken words and turn them into spoken words. And give a broken heart a fresh new start. Take a young child's broken dreams and mend them with spoken seams. We are poets, blessed and words. We create with words, relate with words, transform and relocate with words. We say things like 5 times 5 divided by pi equals the number of rainbow stars in the sky. And have you ask why? It's simple mathematics times dramatics, factored into a poetical third eye, and And the answer in the back of your mind's book is even simpler. We are poets, aye, aye, aye. Love-making, keyboard-breaking, erotic poets. We can make a pen, make love to paper, and make it come. Intoxicate your mind like a strong Puerto Rican rum. We are poets. From our hearts the words flow. Through our mouths and tongues and lips the words magically know where to go. In our heads the voices of the dead are awoken. We speak from our hearts with the voice of the broken. We are poets, this much we know. We give birth to words, touch Mother Earth through words, and at open mics open our mouths and pour out our hearts with words. We write and rewrite, then double check the last rewrite, cause we know the last rewrite is the one that has to be right. We are poets. We will write and recite till our death with words. We are poets. Her scent was California cannabis. Her kisses were delicious. Her tongue-tied mind in chronic twists and would be guilty of being vicious. She became addictive and I became addicted. Her wet text had me wanting her next text, and all my wanting had this body constricted. Each text an aphrodisiac for the next. Was it love, lust, or witchcraft? Cause I felt hexed. Gold, bamboo earrings, Latina hips, lips, cannabis scented. She moaned in vowels and syllables indigenous Indias had invented. She walked in ghetto verbs while smoking herbs so sexy and sweet, and made love as if possessed by a Yoruban West African beat. She made sidewalks blush, pedestrians hush as she walked down the street. I fell in love with this cannabis-scented, hood-represented girl who was ghetto, sexy, and sweet. Thank you. This one, nothing. My heart has grown tired from weeping, but my tongue must poet on. So I ask myself, what goes through the mind of a cop before he pulls the trigger?
Come on.
Yesterday I watched the news. It was another killing by cop of a young black man. Today I read the news. It was another killing by cop of a young brown man. And for the last 2+ decades, this has been the story in my life, in our lives. And in 2003, it was an NYPD who shot the right ear off my best friend's wife for shoplifting. They wanted to kill her. So I ask myself, and the Lord and whoever in the world is listening, what goes through the mind of a cop before he pulls the trigger? Do they have an algorithm in them that tell them what color humans can be killed for them? And you know what I know, that they know, that they know, that they know. They know how to get away with murder. Rest in peace, Mario Woods. Rest in peace, Eric Gardner. Rest in peace, Alex Nieto. Rest in peace, Stephon Clark. Rest in peace, Oscar Grant. Right now I can go on and on and on, but not right now. My heart can't. Thank you. I want what I can. Who am I? Did I do that one? Yeah. Who are you? Okay. Vamos a hacerlo. Here we go. Latino! Yeah! Latinos are the colors of the rainbow. I said the rainbow, yo. Latinos are blanquito, negrito, trigueñito, and Afro-glistic, realistic, simplistic, always mystic, always real, really real, sometimes too real. Always told me, love to steal. So almost everyone they know's violent. Some Latinos have become endangered. So angry and angered, some have become, yes, in danger. Others misinformed, uninformed, and uniformed into the penitentiary. Right into the next century. Others misinformed, uninformed, into the war. Turned into Uncle Sam's whore. Latinos, I can't take it no more. I said the U.S. military. Well, we're first on the front lines, first to die, then we have to bury. Have you seen how many Latino soldiers are in your national cemetery? We're used in the U.S., abused in the U.S., confused in the U.S., and told we are less in the U.S. Come on, system, confess. We've been infected, rejected, corrected, and almost never elected. Yet always selected to clean those pissed on urinals and shitty stalls. We are the Latina nannies that wipe the shit out of the president's grandchildren's drawers, then kiss his ass to cut his grass for a visa pass. Latinos are runaway slaves with eyes open wide and no place to hide. Latinos risk their lives to reach the U.S. and can't come inside. Latinos are young men and women who serve this country with pride. We're here, there, and everywhere. Tall, short, bald, and even Indio looking with long hair. We rock the baggy pants, love music and dance, and we're born to romance. Latinos can become what we dream, if given a chance. Latinos are stars, sports stars, movie stars, and superstars like Celia Cruz. Latinos influence people around el mundo like Orquesta de la Luz. Latinos are united farm workers, teachers, preachers, activists, poets, Borinquen, Puerto Rican, New York poets like Tomás Abacha y Miguel Piñero. Nacimos fuerte hasta la muerte, como los macheteros. Somos doctores y profesores de colores y ingenieros. Gente como Clemente, de los mejores peloteros. Somos bomberos, carteros, santeros y piragüeros. Somos jíbaros de la montaña y nacimos dos salseros. Ay, mi Slaborinquen, como yo te quiero. Te llama Puerto Rico, pero no hay mucho dinero. Te amo y me encanta. Y en el nombre de Dios y poesía, Puerto Rico se levanta. Thank you. Reggie Black. Thank you, Sacred Crowns. Thank you.
We'll take a 5-minute break. 5 minutes.